2007. He moved back down to Lake.
Hey y'all, we are here. We are going live, and we are ready to answer your questions. We're ready to go. Y'all keep on talking. As long as y'all ain't talking about the mama. Y'all, we are going live here shortly on the radio. We thank y'all for tuning in. I'm going to take my seat, but feel free to post your questions and your information right here on this web chat, or you can post it online as well, and we'll make sure we'll get to your information as much as we can. All right, thank y'all for joining us, and we look forward to a great show.
So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it is. He's really good.
One time for stream, y'all.
Everybody comes to that day.
All right.
I've got a 12-year-old.
Come in.
I'm getting close. She played on the
Okay.
basketball team at Deer Lake, so
Really?
she's my little athlete. We got a dancer and an athlete.
Okay.
Now listen, if you feel like you want to be like officialized on the radio, you can put your headphones on. They help me, because then I know when the breaks come in and out on the radio side. But they also give you a little boost, like, ooh, I'm on the radio. So it's up to you.
Air traffic control.
There you go. There you go.
I'm gonna rely on all of you to like.
Now it's possible.
Right. Okay, good afternoon. Hey, Gregory James, please tag and share. That's right. Please post, tag, and share. We are looking forward to today's broadcast. If you're right now watching, go ahead and share the information. Thank you to our 11 viewers. Wow, that kicked up real quick. Hey, y'all. Okay, go ahead and post and share this broadcast. Send it forward. If you want to listen live and you want to stream, go ahead and go on to WT. Woo, I know it.
But we got you nervous, right? That's what it is.
We own. We own. Y'all see us, we own. We're so glad. Go ahead and post and share this. Share this with your friends. We're getting ready to have a really awesome Power Pack show. All right? Here we go. Woo! Happy Wednesday. This is Wake Up Wednesday, and if you are tuning in today, I am not Greg James. I am not Pastor Greg James. Some people say I might be a little prettier than he is. Just a little bit, though. Just a little prettier than Greg James.
We can all agree on that.
Hey, listen. We send our thoughts and prayers out to Pastor Greg James. He's had some issues with his health. I keep telling him, slow down. But, he's going to take a little break today so that he can get himself back on check. And we send our prayers and send our good energy out to him as we continue this broadcast today. I am so excited about this conversation. I mean, I like all of them, but this one today is in my proverbial wheelhouse, right? I wear a lot of hats, a lot of stuff I do. People say, "How you do that?" I'm a little older than people think I am, and I really a little bit, but I really have hung my hat in the last 20 years in the real estate industry, and so today we're gonna try to bust it wide open as much as possible, not to shock you, but more to give an access point so that you can understand exactly what is going on with our local agents of value. That is our Leon County Properties Appraisal Office. We're going to bring our guest in a couple of minutes, but I am joined here by the pastor, the Reverend Michael Smith, who I am so pleased, who is hailing from New Creation Church of Tallahassee, a community-driven multi-diverse body of believers who are working to ensure better access to the truth and better access to love and community via the ministry of the gospel. So we are so glad to have you here, brother Michael.
Thank you for allowing me to be here. I don't know, do y'all just feel special? She's really making
Yeah,
we
we
feel
feel
good.
good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, I feel like we're in a positive pep talk. I need to start coming here every week.
I'm telling
Listen,
you.
don't
Thank
play.
you.
Don't play. You know, in the
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
yeah, well listen,
We have very distinguished guests here today.
we do. And you know, you are a very distinguished guest because you're kind of doing like a double agent thing today,
I
right?
am.
You-
A lot of people don't know. I'm a secret agent in some way.
He is a secret agent, all right? And I'm gonna tell y'all why I say this. He's a reverend pastor, minister, all day long, every day, but he actually is a real estate appraiser. And
That's
people
right.
don't know much about that side of your life outside of the real estate industry. Speak a little bit to that.
Well, it's fantastic. It's really nostalgic to be here because I'm here with a friend of mine that we work together, Nick. We came up in the property appraiser's office, and Dr. Akinyemi has held the seat of our senior property appraiser under my former boss, Bert Hartsfield.
Mhm.
And so it's just good to be here, and it's good to be a property appraiser. I graduated from Florida State University. I was a part of the real estate school there. And so I got an opportunity to see both sides,
Right.
mass tax appraisal, as well as residential valuation. So within my time, I've got a chance to see it, get a different vantage point,
Mhm.
and just be able to help our economy and help our people realize, valuation. It's a privilege.
Yes.
The more you get that certificate, you realize it's an opportunity to serve as well as, be able to build some wealth for your family. But really, as you understand, real
Yes.
estate, the title is services.
Mhm.
So we're providing services to our community, to the market, and in a small microcosm, we affect the world.
That's right.
Personal property appraisal and being able to hire an independent appraisal is definitely one spoke in the wheel of pushing our economy.
That's right. And I think that it's really important that people understand. I've always heard this, right? That real estate appraisal is an art, not a science,
That's
right?
exactly
It's
right.
not add, milk, and stir. There's approaches
That's
that you
right.
have to take. There's several approaches that you include in
Mhm.
your market evaluation of the
Mhm.
appraisal.
Mhm.
We ain't gonna talk about hardly none of that today, right?
Okay.
We're gonna talk about it from a public policy perspective. But I feel like before we go to our little break, that people need to understand in the age of Zillow,
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
and I just
Automated valuation models.
AI in terms of valuation, it's going to get worse without accurate information. And I do believe that in this aspect of the market, there will always need to be a person that is facilitating, that is putting an eye on these valuations. Because you're right. When we deal with different issues relating to people and value, people don't know, and it's a mystery, right?
Mhm.
I'm just hoping, I'm praying to this appraiser like I'm praying to God that he give me the number I need,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
And-
no, it's not that simple. What people don't realize is one thing that automated valuation models will not be able to do is they won't be able to replace humans who give accurate data. So it's data.
That's
It
right.
is accurate information, and whoever gets to the information first has the advantage of using that information to produce, a creditable assignment results. And what we'll get probably here as we get a chance to talk is people will get a chance to see how having good information will help you when it comes to determining tax appraisal, how the property appraiser comes about with their numbers,
Mhm.
millage rates, all of those different things. Hopefully this show clears up and gives the community, your listeners,
Mhm.
good information so that they can make informed decisions.
That's right. That's right. So, and that's what we're here for. So, if we're not making it plain enough for y'all, y'all tell us break it down. I want to see break it down in the comments because it's a very high level conversation.
Mhm.
So, we're gonna cut to the break right quick, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna introduce all of our people that we
Yes.
have in this
Good
studio
people
today.
in the room.
And listen, you're gonna want to hang on to your, just go on somewhere and get your cup of coffee. You're going to want to sit down somewhere and listen because we're going to try to really make sure that there's an understanding of the servant leadership in our Leon County Property Appraisers and answer your questions if you have any by the time we're through. All right, so we're going to cut the break. This is Conscious Check with Christy Henry on the Greg James Community Show platform. Stay tuned.
All right, what a good start.
Yeah, that's good.
Hey,
Get fired up.
Great.
Yeah.
Get this man a microphone.
I see y'all's questions populating there. Hey, y'all, tag and share. Please tag and share. We want to make sure everybody has an opportunity to engage on all platforms, and some people at work and they can't tune into the radio. All right, so please make sure that you're tagging and sharing. Thank y'all so much. Hey, Mother Pittman, how you doing? Good afternoon. Hey, Miss Carolyn, how you doing? Hey, Miss Lorena, how you doing? Good afternoon, Mr. Marcus Manning. How you doing? Y'all make sure y'all get those questions answered, and y'all will be amazed. I'm seeing from this far away without any glasses. All right, I'm amazing myself this
Yeah, put
afternoon.
mine on. Yeah, I can see him now. There you go.
All right.
I've gotten to the point now where I can't see close up and I can't see far away. They're not, they're working.
Did a double one.
Yeah,
Listen, no shame in that.
yeah,
You
it's
know,
just, you know.
some days I'm more farsighted than nearsighted. It's all right.
I don't remember you with glasses.
Yeah, there you go. See, yeah.
He's getting old.
Probably remember me with a lot more hair too. I remember you with a little more hair too.
I tell my kids, listen, I used to look good before y'all got
That's
here.
right. Cause and effect. Cause and effect.
Oh boy.
They'll be honest with you. They'll say, your dad, you're getting bald.
Keith says the dumbest thing.
I know, right?
All right. We're live and back on the path, y'all. And this is Christy Henry. If you're just tuning in, you tuned into the Conscious Check with Christy Henry. I am not Greg James, but he is tuned in, y'all. Y'all send your prayers and your good vibes to
Get
him.
better,
as he's-
Pastor James.
Yeah,
We
get
need to see
better.
you on Sunday.
Yeah, tell him again, y'all. All right, we have to lift our leaders up in prayer, keeping them in our thoughts and prayers. So, first of all, I want to say that I am so super pleased, but not surprised that we were able to get not just Akin Akinyemi, who is our Leon County property appraiser. All right, here in the welcome, Dr. Akinyemi.
Good afternoon, good people. Good afternoon, my sister. I know you are a visionary. I didn't also have 2020 vision. That was pretty impressive over there.
That's pretty good.
And right next to me, Pastor Smith, was really my secret weapon.
Yes.
And Nick has been keeping you from me all this time. So now that the secret is out,
Double agent.
it is impressive to be in good company. And I'm just excited today, and I look forward to hopefully introducing my team, who are incredibly talented here with me, to help break it down and to help answer any questions that people may have today.
That's right. I want to make sure that y'all understand that Akin Akinyemi, he may be our Leon County property appraiser, but he is a state-appointed certified official who's responsible for assessing value to over 110,000 property. I'm tired saying it. Over 110. We have a very rich and robust database here, and it takes a team to be able to accurately do your job that you are state chartered and mandated to do. And so we want to definitely bring in our team from the Leon County Properties Appraiser's Office, Ms. Megan Posky, who serves as the Director of Exemptions. Y'all write her name down now.
She's a good one to know.
She is somebody you definitely want to know. Welcome, Megan, to the show.
Thank you.
So, and also Mr. Nick Cottrell, who serves as Chief Deputy of Appraisal Services. And so that sounds real global.
Still getting used to that title. That's pretty big. I have to, still getting used to that.
Talk to me. Let's start on a real surface level, because to do a great job, you have to have a great team.
No doubt.
I mean, government is real interesting these days, right?
Absolutely.
And you have to have a team of folks that understand the mission, that understand what it is that you have to accomplish. And before I get to the function of the office, talk to me a little bit about the spirit of the office.
I want to start where Pastor Smith left off, and to give credit where credit is due. Bud Asfield, who served for 24 years before me, is a legend in this field. He was the very first person in the entire state to digitize our appraiser. You used to have to come to the office and get paper. Our office was the first to do that. And Bud has a vision and has a practice that is so people focused. and me and Megan can talk tomorrow about this. When you call our office, I want to be sure that you get a real person, not a recording.
Mhm.
If you need assistance, you want to be helped at the highest level. So when I was honored to be elected to this position, my number one goal was to keep up the high level of professionalism that the office has. I said, if I ever do one thing right, first and foremost, I want to keep that up. And if you don't know the history of the election, you know how election goes. I still know I had my work cut out for me.
Mhm.
Because one of the most competent, most reputable person in this industry, who's now one of my best friends, Doug Will, was in this race.
Yes.
So I have to walk into these shoes and have to hand people's respect and camaraderie. And I think that happens in less than 1 week.
Mhm.
Because of the grace of Bud Asfield, I didn't have to wait until January 3rd when I was installed to get to work.
Mm.
Immediately after November, Bud gave me an office and said, come here anytime you want.
Wow.
I
Wow.
was already engaging people, making plans, implementing, promotions and the whole thing. And people suddenly become very calm, very reassured. Not only did Doug stayed, Doug was promoted, and we continued to work together even to the day. Doug worked in the office yesterday.
He was in here today. He's
So
helping
the
us with some
spirit of
things.
the office
Wow.
was high before I get there. And I thank the
Sure.
good Lord for giving me the sense to keep it that way, to work at the highest level of camaraderie and serving the people, because that's what we sign up for.
Yes.
It's not about us, it's not about our positions, it's about serving the people. And I was helped, I was nurtured
Yes.
into that. Not in 26 years like Doug.
Mhm.
I have to drink from the fountain in 3 months.
Yes. Yes.
But thanks to the good Lord, we continue to work at that high level.
So I wanna, you have to jump on in here, Pastor Smith. I wanna paint a picture here because I think that you went from being a commissioner on the Leon County Board of County Commissioners, which is mostly a personality-driven,
Yes.
right, type
Yes.
campaign,
Yes.
to campaigning for, quite frankly, a highly technical position, right?
Yes.
Highly
Yes.
specialized position.
Yes.
You are an architect
Mhm.
by trade,
Yes.
so it wasn't that big of a leap. But talk about what that was in terms of leaping from the politics of people to the politics of value, right?
Yes, yes.
Talk a little bit about that.
One thing you probably know about me, I'm a lifelong student,
Mm.
and I do love to study. And throughout the year and a half of the election, I continue to ask myself, why me and why this position? And I continue to study. So I made a joke on the trail when I talk about my 3 opponents. They have what I call the depth of appraisal,
Right.
but I have the breadth of experience.
Mhm.
Being a former county commissioner, being a former chairman of the Value Adjustment Board, being an architect. And I said that, but most importantly, this position, it's not about appraising, believe it or not. It's about leadership.
Right.
It's about managing people, motivating people. So that was what I promised.
Yes.
And that's what I've been delivering for 6 years now. I mean, I admire Megan and I admire Nick so well and other people in the office. I don't do what they do. I understand it
Right.
from an intellectual perspective, from being an overview in a leadership position, but I'm not going to go sit on Nick's desk and start to do his work. That's
Right.
not going to happen.
Right.
That's not what I was hired to do. So yeah, it is just having that confidence and the vision and the hope that yes, I could.
Mm.
And that's been the blessing, that's been the things. And as we go further into the details of what we do in a few minutes, people will understand that, like you said, this is a very high technical
Yes.
undertaking. It is very broad. It is not just doing one thing. And again, I'll break it down in a minute. It's to different things that we do in the office. But you have to be, first of all, grounded.
Mm.
You have to be humble. And you have to let people do what they do best and be a leader that doesn't get in the way, but help to lift. And I mean, every time I meet somebody in the community, the praises that my staff gets, it is just incredible.
Mm.
It is just mind-blowing that we're able to work at the eye level, and given the fact that this is something that people care. I mean, your house is your single biggest investment.
That's right. That's right.
And so this is not joking matter. This is not small. It is a big deal to whether you have one building or 10 buildings. We value you so greatly and equally, and we're able to really, really work at that level. And I look forward to, again, going to more details about what we do in the office.
I have a question, and this is actually directed to the Chief Deputy here. I'll have a confession. We worked together. I worked in the
Full
property
disclosure,
appraisal.
right?
Full disclosure. We'll let everybody know.
That's right. Transparency.
And this question is going to tie that into it. There's a principle that let someone else speak your praises. And you know, from my studies, with any transition in leadership, government, or what have you, there are always fears and concerns about the people, the constituents who are left,
Yes.
who are left
Sure.
behind, that did not get swept out with the transition, but are there. You have to deal with it. What have you seen in the transition with? I guess I should phrase it this: how much of a difference, if any, have you seen with the servanthood of Dr. Akinyemi versus the servanthood of Bert Hartsville? I know what I saw when I was there, but I haven't been here under the new leadership. What have you seen, and how have you seen this? What have you seen from the public standpoint, and what have you seen from the staff that is left behind?
Well, I can tell you that Dr. Akinyemi made the transition as seamless as possible. He came into the office with a vision and a mission that he wanted to complete, but that the actual transition itself was as smooth as it could be. There was, of course, some fear anytime there's any type of
Absolutely.
change like that, but he put those fears to rest pretty quickly, coming in as early as he did, and consulting with the staff. And so it was it was a blessing, because all those types of transitions can be difficult.
So do you think that it bolstered the effect that we have now with the services the office provides, as well as for our community? You felt like it was an addition. It accentuated what the heart and the spirit of the property appraisal?
Absolutely. I mean, Dr. Akinyemi's got a commitment to innovation, right? So he is a technology focused guy. He's always looking at ways to better our processes, incorporating new technologies. I mean, we've implemented some, from the field standpoint, as you're familiar with, we're using some tablets to collect data digitally.
Wow.
And so that was something he spearheaded.
Wow.
So from that standpoint, we're growing in the way we do things in the office, and he's definitely, that's his thing. He likes to push forward and be innovative with how we do our jobs.
Yes. So, Megan, did you have any addition? Did you transition, or are you new to the crew?
I did transition.
Oh, wow.
I didn't have too many years with Bert. I had a few, and then Akeem came into office. And I'll second what Nick is saying about the transition. For me, it felt very seamless. We actually worked together before January, before he arrived that January, kind of day one. We run an annual awareness campaign related to exemptions. It's something we prepare for fall into winter and before it launches. And we were already digging into that before he was officially in office.
Wow.
So we had the chance to develop that trust early on. And I think what I admire is that he realized what he was inheriting and he honored that. And he's challenged us to grow even further. And I feel like that's been huge for our team.
So you're not in the room here, but we see name tags, right? And we see 5 years of service. We see 20 years of service. I think, and we see 5 years of service. And I think that speaks to, that kind of appreciation, that kind of recognition, that kind of stakehold even in the office. So congratulations to you for the great team that you've cultivated and curated, and for the respect. Sometimes we don't treat each other good in transition, but 25 years with Bert and the magnificent, the icon he was in this space, for you to come in with the right kind of humility to retain the kind of respect that these folks had, and be able to innovate and move forward the office. That's tremendous, and I want to make sure I say that to our listening audience. That's how you transition leadership.
I want to encourage our audience because hopefully what they're gathered here as we spend time together is if there is an issue, if there's a question, do not hesitate to call this office. I've worked there. I know the heart. I know the spirit. They're some of the kindest people you ever want to meet. And we're there. We were always there for the taxpayer. We were always there. That's what was taught, and that's what permeated throughout the office of the property appraiser when Bert was there, when I served, and I'm sure, of course, from what we heard, that's what's there now. So please don't hesitate to have fear. Don't hesitate to have any type of reservedness about questions about property value issues. Please contact these folks. Please take your time and go up there on your lunch break. They are truly, from me being a product of them, they are truly servants of our community. So they're not enemies. They're here to help and help inform so that you can make good property decisions regardless of what you're facing.
That's right. And I think that's a wonderful segue to one of our first questions, which is, what do y'all do? You know, what is the role and the function? And this is an economic development centered show. So, you know, you play a huge economic function because you are the basis by which the taxes are generated, by which our government functions in terms of fuel and resources and capital to do some of the things that are important here. So talk seamlessly and fearlessly about what your role
Let me thank my
is.
brother, Pastor Smith, for your advocacy for us. I'm so blessed to have you on this show with my sister. And your testament is very uplifting. And I hope that people hear and listen to you and do call us because we're here to serve.
Right.
Really briefly, Christy, as you mentioned earlier, the way government works, you have a state government. Under state government, you have several different counties that we'll call them creatures of the state.
Right.
Cities are optional, believe it or not. You can form a city, you can dissolve a city. So then the state delegates certain functions to what we call constitutional officers. I'm one of those 7 in this town. And our job is really very narrowly and clearly defined. Our role is to visit at least once every 5 years in person, to use other mechanical and electronic tools available to us, to be able, through mass appraisal, which Nick will get into a minute, assess every single property in Leon County. That number varies because sometimes people combine parcels, people split parcels. But as of today, we have about 111,000 parcels in Leon County. And whether it's a non-profit like a church doesn't pay taxes or even government, you have to still value them.
That's right.
So it's not just only the ones that pay taxes. We value every single property. That equates to about some
36
$36 million in valuable property.
He said 36 billion.
36
36
billion.
with a B, not an M. All right.
Which then generates about 21 million in taxes. And I do have a little gift for you here today. I'm passing out money today. Now,
I can't go on Amazon.
Now the proportion vary for the city and for school board, but for Leon County government, for instance, this current year, this is their budget. But of that money, and it varies from year to year, between 51 and 56% of all of their revenue come from property taxes.
Okay, say that again.
Between 51 and 55% of all the money that Leon County receives every year come from property taxes, which make our job incredibly important. Before the county and the city meet, which they are doing right now this week, to start their budget, guess where they come to first? They come to us because we're the lion's share of them. And they want to know how much money they get, even if it's preliminary. You have to give them some kind of, okay, this is preliminary, it's not final, but expect this much. And again, and Nick will speak to the increase we've seen lately and why. But so we understand the magnitude and importance of this work. And this work is done by a dedicated team. Again, our staff vary. We're about 50 right now. I think our FTE is 55 at some point, 48 at some other, but currently about 50, 52 people. and we have different departments. And what I have here with me today are two of the most important of those departments. Nick's department, appraising, being the largest of our staff.
Wow.
And again, we break it down, residential, commercial, TPP, and explain to you all of that. Up until recently, which I know we split into two, and I won't get into that, the second largest department was exceptions and ownership records, which Megan, was pretty much responsible. And I still kind of consider you, by the way, as director of both. So, yeah. And then, of course, we have IT and GIS that support that.
GIS.
We have absolutely. We can get the technology now. You know me, I'm a technocrat. And then we have administration. But my other secret weapon is what I'm about to describe is outreach.
Yes.
You know our two wonderful, Andy Jenisek, our director, incredible young man. And Valencia, actually I used to work with Megan for many, many years until I pulled out from all of that to join this department. And the two of them does incredible work of informing the community about what we do. Some people question why you need the government, why do you need, you're not going to say what to do. It's not about saying what we do, it's about getting people informed. Because the best way to minimize your taxes to understand all these exemptions that's there. And thank you so much for calling us in this very timely time, because we are currently in the exemption season.
Wonderful.
And again, Megan will get into all the details. So this is what we do, and we do it with so much pride, with so much collaboration, and we work together to serve our community.
So I want to just kind of recap everything that you just said. This is a state chartered entity within state chartered counties, right? So there's a function of the state distributed to counties. So, we don't just elect him. He's appointed, we elect him, but when the position is appointed on the state level.
The person is elected.
Right, and so I think that's really important for the community to understand that this is a function of the state that we elect someone to lead. The second thing is that on this money you just gave me, it says that we generate $253.7 million, and 51.6% of that come from your house. Or your commercial property, or your vacant land, in order to fund agencies, government, in order to fund local government.
Function in this county.
For us to function as government and maintain order, to distribute between the relevant agencies. This is tremendous to know, because I don't think people really understand that. So when we go to bat and talk about property tax increases and things like that, which we ain't getting into on this show, don't ask me no questions, that is not the case. But I think it's important for people to understand why the function of this office is so critical, but also why they need to, as Pastor Smith so eloquently stated before, engage. Speak to that. And did you have maybe a clarifying question?
Well, I was just wanting to say, since you said let's not talk about taxes,
Yeah,
I think we need to inform everyone that this agency is not responsible for taxing our public.
that's right. That's another person that we elect. All right, that the state mandate, and her name is Doris Malloy. We're gonna have her on here one more, but that ain't her today, and I'm not her. All right, and we want to be clear.
But there's a but to it. But if you get good information, having meetings with this agency, having meetings with the exemption department, and if you see a guy snooping around your property with a tablet on and a t-shirt with a tag that says County Appraiser's Office, do not sick your dog.
I don't know. I don't know, Mike, because if you got an addition to your house, they may assess that and appraise it, and that's what make your basis
Do
go up.
not run that guy off if you got a secret porch that you've enclosed on the back of your drive. Don't do it.
Unpermitted and closed court.
That's part of the interview. The interview process is 40 times. We look at 40 times.
Those guys have been taught to fend for their lives. No. If you see a field appraiser out there, which I used to be one of them, we are your friend. You want to communicate with us. Why?
Data.
Because we want you want that information.
Yeah.
You may not want it when tax increase time comes, but you're going to want it when you have to refinance your home for a mortgage, when you have to get insurance, if you ever come to the place where your property is going up for estate, if you have to deal with a divorce, your property has to be divided, you are going to want credit for that addition because it is an improvement.
Indeed.
And so when that improvement is put on the tax roll, it not only helps you, it helps your neighborhood, it helps your community, because there's an algorithm that goes into mass tax appraisal that will be assigned to your particular area, and you're going to want the benefits of that increase.
That's
No
right.
doubt, no
That's
doubt.
right. And listen, we have a lot to talk about and 30 minutes left to talk about it, right?
Go for it.
But we're going to take a little bit of a break here and tune to commercial. You're listening to Conscious Check with Christy Henry and Pastor Michael Smith today. And we are here with our Leon County property appraiser and his squad.
Woo.
All right, so stay tuned. We'll be back in a few.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Listen, if y'all are looking at it online and stream, y'all need to see this. This is very. I'm gonna like take a picture of it and post it.
You should
I
post that.
think we need to post it. In fact, if there's a digital copy of it that I
I'll
can
email it
get,
to you.
please email it to me because
Yes,
I think as we're looking at our audience, and let me see what kind of questions we might have out here, on here, if any. All right, we see a lot of hearts. We know y'all love us, so let me see if y'all got any questions. Let's see. All right. Hello, Pastor Smith. They want to say hey. Great information. Okay, we want to see. This is what you're
Show
looking
me
at
the
right here.
money.
This our friends is the bill that we're getting. I'm gonna post it to my page in a little while when they send me. I can't even get it right. What am I doing? Okay, this is what we're looking at. Okay, where the $253.7 million that funds our state governments with an S comes from. This is appalling to look at in a positive way. All right. But it's really, I'm going to post it so that you can have it. This is probably going to be a 2-part conversation. So just tune in and get your notes ready for the next one. All right, y'all. Hey, everybody. All right, here we go. Now, listen, start putting your questions out there. In the last 15 minutes, we are going to be answering actual questions. Okay, so we're going to get into the meat of our conversation here in a moment. Thank y'all for staying tuned, and please post and share.
By the way, I was in a hurry. It's really 317 million and 56%. This is from 2017.
Woo!
But I will send you the correct one.
We got an update. We got an update coming. Okay.
17 million.
Wow.
What 56%?
What that does is that should cause people who have their discrepancies with what's happening within our city or our county, they should be at the county commissioner
Yep.
meeting.
Right?
Yes, yes. We haven't even talked about millage rate.
Yeah,
and
yeah, that's
all of
coming up, and
that.
that's- You can arrive at value outside of taxes based on,
Based on
your
the millage rate.
evaluation, but you can't
That's
get
right.
to taxes without a millage rate. And that's set by your city and county commission.
I love that you are drawing these distinctions because it's often a point of confusion that we
Oh,
run
no
into.
doubt.
And that's part of the education to do, but it's not always talked about.
People
Yeah.
come up mad at you. Why are y'all whoa, wait a minute. Let's help you understand what's
What
going
can
on.
we help you with? Yeah. yeah.
And they don't realize you can help, especially
All
coming to
right,
the
y'all.
office.
Exemptions, yeah.
We are
Yes.
coming back. Listen, y'all ought to hear some of the commercial conversations. That's what we always have the innovation come through in the commercial conversations on the break. If you just tuned in, this is Conscious Check with Christy Henry on the Greg James Community Show platform. I am joined here today with my special and experienced and astute co-host, the Pastor Michael Smith of
Listen, I'm
the
gonna have to
New
write your check
Creation
right
Church
after
of Tallahassee.
Finish.
Listen,
Commission.
listen.
I'm
Commission.
gonna get your cash out.
we have a mandate to make it plain, all right? And we have hopefully been doing that.
Thank
He has
you
been
for
very
allowing
good with explaining concepts and being an appraiser. He knows how to do it, so that's a blessing. So we are going to continue on with our conversation with our Leon County property appraiser, Dr. Akin Akinyeme, and the squad here, Megan Polsky, who is the Director of Exemptions for the Leon County Property Appraiser's Office, and Nick Cottrell, who is the Chief Deputy of Appraisal Services for the Leon County Property Appraiser's Office. So listen, we've gotten to a lot of conversation earlier, Pastor Mike, about what it is. What is the Leon County Property Appraiser's Office, right? But I want to get into kind of what are your menu of services and what are the opportunities for local property owners, and what is the difference between a standard market appraisal and your property valuations?
Well, I mean, the first thing you can probably make the distinction is your typical fee appraisal. Something that Mr. Smith, his operation does is it's focused on a single piece of real estate.
Okay.
The report itself is, typically for your single family residential appraisal is going to be selecting 3 to 6 comparables, adjusting those comparables to make them like the subject, and then reconciling an estimate of market value. The difference in what the property appraiser's office does is we have 110,000 subject properties, and say what we're doing is grouping like properties and applying appraisal models to try to estimate market value for groups of properties.
Okay.
And so it's very similar in the application of the cost approach, the market approach, and the income approach. The 3 approaches to estimate market value. It's just the scope is different. And we have some statistical quality controls in which we're able to look at our valuation versus the actual sale prices to see how accurate our models are estimating that market value.
That is good. That's good. That's good. But you're not looking at your approach to this particular valuation. Want to make the distinction between a valuation and an appraisal, right? Is that a proper way to approach this?
Yes. No. The report itself that's produced by a fee appraiser is a report in itself and is limited to that. Whereas the valuations that are for the property appraiser are for tax valuations only, and we use a different approach, mass appraisal versus single property appraisal.
Okay.
I think, Nick, maybe it'll be a good time also to bring up the fact that those are not synonymous. So if I was to come up, if you were to go and look at your property value, unless you're a multiple parcel owner, there's something that's very important that we need to talk about called our Save Our Homes exemption that causes that you're not actually being taxed on that
Right.
the 100% of that market or tax value.
Yeah. So our valuations are typically going to fall under true fair market value, something that the report that Mr. Smith may produce. Our valuations have to take into account different factors, statutorily required factors, and one of those is a differences in cost of sale adjustment. So all the things that go into the cost of sale, whether it's the appraisal, some of the closing costs,
Doc stamp fees.
doc stamps, all those type of things we try to factor into our valuations, which typically our valuations are going to fall just a little bit under the actual sale price, given the fact we're doing 110,000 parcels.
Can I break that down
To
for you?
elaborate on what Pastor Smith just said, the state has a lot of regulation that passed by the legislature. One of them is called Save Our Homes. So when you have homestead, the law says that your property cannot increase more than 3% of CPI. So just that alone is going to make your valuation rate of increase different as opposed to somebody who doesn't have homestead or commercial property. So like you said, if you have 2 houses down the street that cost the same thing, $200,000, one person's tax may only be $2,000 per year, or maybe $5,000. It's not because the tax, when you multiply the value by the millage rate, what you get is the same, but before you multiply by that millage rate, some properties valuation you may remove some value that's been protected from valuation.
That's right.
For homestead, you get $50,000, generally it's $25,000 for school board, and then if you have Save Our Homes, and if you lived, and what's called portability, if you move from a house to another one, you can put your savings, can carry your savings with you. So a house may be worth $200,000, but you're only paying taxes on $7,000 of that money.
That's right.
And you may pay taxes on $150,000 of that money. So that's why discretion comes in. People get so mad when they say, "How come it's paying less? My house is the same." So we try our best to send our teams out to explain this to people. Again, Megan will go into the details of when I was running, I was amazed that we have over 24 different kind of exemptions. Homestead is the most common, but there are so many of them. And that's like, we got to get out the word to people. People need to know what these are, how do they qualify for it, how they can apply for it. And she'll take you through all the steps as we go. Hopefully we have enough time to get to all this.
Well, I think we're here for that. And I think that's really important as we recap and redirect to Megan, because you're right. When people come to me as a real estate person, they say, oh, the property appraiser said my house worth this, right? No, that may not be what your house is worth. That's what your house is assessed, right? And that factor of the 3% incremental that you just talked about, where it can't go above, you cannot tax these people above that basis plus 3% every year, plus whatever other stuff that you got to factor in. So it's not a contrived number. It has a lot of different factors that pay into it. And can you talk about some of the confusion maybe that some of our constituents may call your office with, and some of the ways that you're connecting them with additional savings? Because we know in this economy, the cost burden is real, right? Taxes factor into that, insurance factor into that. Talk a little bit about how your office, through the vision of Dr. Akinyemi being extremely outreach oriented, is making a difference in helping people to basically stay in their homes.
So we kind of touched on it earlier, but we run a exemptions awareness campaign every year leading up to the March 1 deadline. So March 1 is the annual filing deadline for property tax exemptions.
March 1, you said?
March 1.
Okay.
Coming up.
It's an annual filing deadline.
Great timing.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Thank you. And so we really try to get the message out there, not just about homestead, because as Akeen's already said, there's additional exemptions, but it's really important that we hit all avenues. So we're doing this with you today, which allows us to spread that message. We try to get onto TV. We try to do social media. We try to send out direct mail outs. We do a number of things that are part of that campaign, all to generate awareness, because we don't want to leave anybody out.
That's right.
And we know everybody tunes in a different way,
Mm-hmm.
different populations. And so you want to make sure that you're hitting those points and that everybody has an opportunity to file for those exemptions that are going to save them money.
That's right.
Homestead is definitely one of those. Huge, up to $50,000 off the assessed value, and the all-important Save Our Homes cap, which I feel like is a lesser-known benefit
Yeah,
of
absolutely.
Homestead.
Talk about it.
And it's been huge lately
Mhm.
because of what the market's been doing.
That's right.
But there are exemptions for veterans with disabilities, first responders with total and permanent injury due to service, low-income seniors, widows, widowers. We have assessment reductions for people that have constructed living quarters for parents or grandparents. So there's a number of exemptions
Wow.
and assessment limitations that we're responsible for administering per Florida law that we really want people to know about.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Megan, is there a list of those exemptions on the website?
We
Can people
do.
go-
Yeah.
where would they go on the website to go and find out about this?
So our website is leonpa.gov.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually have an exemptions tab where you can go and review the eligibility criteria for a variety of exemptions. We also have a forms tab where you can access the form that you might be interested in completing, the application you might want to complete and turn in. And then our contact information is everywhere on that page, email, phone number. So if you have questions, as you said earlier, please reach out. We pride ourselves in being accessible and being available for whatever question you may have. Even if we can't answer the direct question, or if it doesn't pertain to us, we at least try to get you going in the right direction.
That's right.
So
Yes, you got a list next to your phone of all the other people.
we do
I
frequently
call you
call
all the
numbers.
time to get other
Yeah.
people's numbers, so thank you for that.
I think it's also important that you have the portal listed where you can file for this exemption online.
Yes.
Okay, I'm posting like all these
Yeah.
tabs on our website. And you also have a tax estimator on your website where people can come. I've read up on all the stuff.
It's
Yeah,
good.
That's right.
So talk about, I mean, with all of these menu of services, obviously your job is to do what the state told you got to do, but also make sure that policy legislatively in terms of savings for individual neighbors, homesteaders are passed down. How much of this is not taken advantage of?
It's hard to say. So that's where we feel our job is to just push the message as much as possible and make sure that we're hitting all of those different touch points and we don't stop at one thing. So our PR, our public relations team, Andy and Valencia, they've been huge in expanding our creativity and thinking diversely about how to reach those different groups.
Right.
Because it's important that we do. And we want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to file if they're eligible.
So in a recap, Pastor Smith, March 1, listen, they're not gonna
March
let you come
1.
in March 2nd. I'm sorry, you don't have a cousin in the property appraisal office. You cannot come at March, look, it's over. I'm telling you, March 2nd, you cannot get no help. March 1st, we here for you, right?
Right.
You gotta come by March 1st. The other piece of this is you all have a live person that people can talk to. You're doing outreach in the community. This is a mode of outreach. You just had an open house event. You partner with TLC and you do their first time home buyer. The book of the break of the candlestick, man, I don't know how much else you can do to get this information out, but it's critical because housing values are on steroids around here. This might be a question for you, Nick, and possibly for your interjection and yours. Do you see this trend continuing in terms of the value, and how must we respond locally to this continued uptick of value? And we know it's a shortage, supply demand issue. How are we talking about this on the public policy level?
Well, I can tell you from our standpoint, we've seen, of course, last year was the largest increase we've had on the tax roll. Residential real estate went up approximately 15% on average, which is the largest increase we've had in over a decade. But as far as the trend, we're definitely seeing the number of sales that are starting to fall down a little bit.
Okay.
And the rate of increase looks like it's slowing down. Whereas, I don't think we're going to be hitting another 15% increase this year.
Okay.
And so definitely the number of sales are down and the rate of increase is down. And so
Okay.
we're definitely not going to see it, in my opinion, a kind of a jump like that, like we did last year.
Nick, would you agree that that's a double negative for our economy?
Yes.
If it continues in that trend.
Correct.
Because what happens is with inflation, if inflation doesn't allow us to recapture profit,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you don't want value going down and inflation staying rising. That gap closing is eating up profit.
Yeah.
And so also I have a question about Save Our Homes that I'm not sure, because I remember this from the property appraiser's office. We talked about if someone moves, they get a chance to take that with them.
Right.
And that's new.
But do they understand that it starts over? That there's a cap that they'll understand. So the Save Our Homes cap is keeping that 3% increase year after year.
Mhm.
So if your property value increases, let's say 30% in 4 years, you're not going to see a 30% increase. The most you could see is 12, right?
Yeah. So with Save Our Homes and the Save Our Homes Amendment cap, you're right. It resets when you sell property.
That
Okay, and from that point forward, the assessed value is capped at 3% or less, wherever the market moves with the market. Portability says when you move to your new house, you can take this difference in value to your new house, offsetting the market value by that amount, resetting that assessed value. But with that new house, if the previous owner had been there longer,
Mm-hmm.
your valuation is going to reset, but your portability benefit is going to be applied to this number instead of
to the
previous
new purchase number.
Exactly.
The new purchase number.
And let me just add to that. Does that apply just within Leon County, or does portability apply to the entire state of Florida?
The entire statewide.
So that means that a person selling their home down in Miami can port their tax savings or their tax basis savings up here to Leon County, which accounts for a lot of the reasons why people are moving
Yes.
to these rural northern areas, because they can
Cost of
experience cost of living. And so even if you're not keeping on pace with inflation, people are finding other places to live where they can maximize the value based upon their investments in other spaces.
Yep.
That is a huge question. Y'all, this is a 2-point conversation. I promise you, this is a
If I can
two-show
add
conversation.
quickly, I hope we can get to advocacy and
Yes.
lobbying, because we do some of that too. But just quickly on the issue of portability, when the law was passed, it gave people up to 2 years, because if you don't do it, you're going to lose it.
Right.
Now, if you are trying to build a new house, or if you don't know about it, 2 years can come just like that.
That's right.
And I thought it could be a year and 3 months. We calculated. We lobbied, and about 2 or 4 years ago, we were able to change it to 3 years. So now you have up to 3 years to apply for portability. Otherwise, you lose and lose it forever.
Yes.
So again, we will talk more in the free time that we have about some other issue that's very dear to you,
Mm-hmm.
and about distinguishing our role as administrator, which is primarily and front and center,
Yes.
to our role as advocates, which is sort of delicate and a little tricky, but we can hopefully get into some of that a little bit.
No, we get to that now. this is the deal now.
You did it.
We get that right now.
That you caused that segue.
Listen, because what he's saying, Mama Auntie him, is that this office was a technical process systems administration office until Dr. Akinyemi got in there, right? So now he's looking at it from the standpoint, okay, listen, we've got to not just apply the systems of appraisal evaluation here in our county. We've got to advocate for value, equitable value, right? We've got to advocate so that we make sure that the systems are applied equitably on all levels. And I think a huge part of that is communication, which you are shoring up through the work that you've done through engagement. But speak a little bit to some I don't want to say gaps,
Yes.
but opportunities
Let
that
me
you've
say
seen.
first and foremost, equity is very subjective
Mhm.
and it's very, very difficult to measure. Even for me as a scientist, I struggle with how is this really happening? To what extent is it happening? What are the factors affecting it? I was very reluctant for a lot of time to even look into this. But one thing I did remember during my campaign when they asked us about advocacy and lobbying.
Yes.
People said, oh, no, we don't do that. We just simply administrator, that's what we do. And I said, no, I don't agree. Most of what we do is administration, that's true. But as community leaders, as elected officials, we have the role to advocate for our citizens.
That's right.
And so as soon as I was elected, one thing I did was to join an association. I was just the outgoing president for this past year. As we speak, I have a meeting tonight and continue to lobby as we can. We look at every law that the state intends to pass. And we caution them. If a rule is not fair or reasonable, we try to kill that rule.
Mhm.
If the rule is well intended but not well written, we try to help them to mold it to be more effective. And we on our own actually bring to the table things that our constituents brought to us.
Mhm.
That's a gentleman, Mr. Vincent Allen, that's been working closely with Megan for months. And finally, he told her, I got to talk to Dr. Akinyemi myself. And we had a meeting, we met, and he told his story. When you are total permanently disabled veterans, you pay zero taxes usually.
Mhm.
He was in Virginia for many years, he was not paying taxes. When he moved here, and his wife, they bought their dream house. And guess what? He said, Dr. Akinyemi, you send me a bill. I was like, my hands are tied. So I explained to him, and this is an issue that advocacy takes time. Some things you lobby on. 2 years ago, you were able to have this, what they call prorated refund. Normally, if you're disabled, you don't pay taxes from the next year moving forward. But they could have thought wise in their own thinking to say, no, why can't you start right now when you apply? Meaning that even though you pay the taxes this year, you can prorate and get a refund for it. But that law was only passed to include Florida resident veterans
Mhm.
who already own a home. There are two categories that law did not cover. If you're a Florida resident, but you just buying your home for the first time, if you move from out of state. So now we file a bill this section that hopefully, if it passes, it will help those two categories. And that's just one example. Our senior citizens, our widow and widower, they have very, very limited income.
Mhm.
There was a law on the book for almost 50 years that says that you don't pay taxes on, I think it was
$500.
$500. When people see that, they think they're saving $500. No, that's, you remove that before you multiply by the millage rate. So essentially, you're only saving $8 to $10.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is because they they see that. So we were able, again, to change that to $5,000, which now is $100. So,
Which is effective this year.
yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So you can look at things from different perspectives as an individual,
Right.
as an elected official, and I tend to look at things to say, no, I think I should be able to have the right as any citizens to lobby for what I believe in.
Yes.
I should be able to help my constituents That's why I started the outreach program, so people can know more about existing law so that they can save money. But beyond that, I should also be able to fight for what I believe is right.
Right.
And equity is one of those. And this is only a beginning.
Yes.
This is a study that's going on. I was very impressed to hear President Biden just 3 weeks ago at the MLK function in Washington, D.C. Again, these issues are very tricky, but he did say that he believed that African American households are not fairly being taxed or properly being appraised. And he put in place a task force to look into this. They just begin their work. I don't know how long they will take. I'll be glad to send you his full speech, but what I did there was just kind of excerpt the beginning of that speech at the bottom, and on the top is a report of the task force activity and action. In fact, they have a webinar coming up on March 1st at 2 p.m.
Okay.
People might want to watch and catch up and keep up with that.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what will come out of it.
Right.
I don't know what our own inner study will reveal.
Right.
Because it's a very subjective matter. But when enough people come to you about this issue, you can't just ignore them.
That's right.
You have to at least take the time to look into it and see if there's any kind of merit to it. And we'll be very blessed in our group and our staff to also be able to help people, again, save money. And so that's one way you can advocate. If you can't change the law, but you can help people take advantage of the law to the maximum of their benefit. And so we do that regularly.
That's right. Listen, you can be an advocate without being a revolutionary, right? And I think that, first of all, this was already a 2-part series, right? We have run out of complete slap time, right? And we got like 1 minute for me to close this show. First thing I want to make sure that our audience know before we leave, thanks, Doc. Don't shut us off just yet, Doc D. We have until March 1st. For you to get with your local property appraiser's office to ensure, first of all, that you can make sure your property is appraised and assessed properly, right? Because there's a process to that. And the second thing is make sure you have all of the proper entitled exemptions that you qualify for and that you understand that. The second thing is that there's outreach happening all over the place all the time. You can go online to lcpa.org and you can find out anything you want to find out about what's going on with your Leon County Property Appraiser's office. And we will have another part to this series. And we look forward to it because it's important. We are ready
Yes, we're talking about special masters.
Yep.
And
Military.
B&B boards.
We got a lot to talk about. And see, I knew this was going to be a 2-part series. So that's why I don't feel bad like cutting this off right now. All right. So we want to give you all an opportunity to stay tuned. We will be doing a 2-part. If not on this broadcast, we'll be doing it in the community in a town hall forum so that you'll also have an opportunity to engage. But we are so blessed. First of all, thank you for
My pleasure.
I couldn't have picked a better co-host for this conversation. I mean, it's like right there in
You
the
did
trenches.
great.
God is so good. All right. Thank y'all for tuning in today. We are going to continue this conversation. Please call your local Leon County Property Appraiser's office. Go ahead and get those appointments handled. We will be on here next month, same time, same station. Looking forward to the next conversation, and we'll keep y'all tuned in to the town hall meeting that we'll be doing in partnership with our local property appraisers because it's just important.
Yes.
Thank y'all for tuning in. Again, I'm not Greg James, but he'll be back next week. And y'all keep the good prayers up for him as he's healing and recovering. God bless you all and stay tuned.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
It's a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Always a pleasure.
Oh, man. Listen.
There you go.
If you're online, we're breaking up. We got to take our group picture before we leave. All right. But if you are tuned in online, all these folks walking around, they have been extremely helpful, extremely resourceful. We look forward. Thank you, Pastor Collins. Yes, it was great information. Stay tuned to the town hall conversation, and we will keep the energy and the information going. Y'all take care and have a good day.